Welcome back to another explainer. Today we're tackling a deeply frustrating reality that affects pretty much all of us, yet we rarely even notice it's happening until, well, it's way too late. I'm talking about the invisible money leak. You know, those silent, sneaky financial drains that are just steadily pulling money right out of your bank account while you sleep, while you work, and while you go about your day? So, I've got to ask you directly, are you losing money right now? Because the shocking reality, according to our source material today, is that most people are losing money every single month without even realizing it. It's a pretty heavy thought, right? Letting that dread kind of sink in is important, but hey, don't panic. We aren't talking about reckless spending, trips to the mall, or blowing your whole paycheck on a lavish vacation. What the source actually reveals is that our modern, automated economy is meticulously designed to create these invisible, continuous drains on your finances. But today, we're going to permanently plug that leak. Okay, let's dive into this. The source gives us 3 straightforward changes that act as your ultimate defense mechanism to save hundreds starting today. Step 1, cancel forgotten apps. Step 2, the 24-hour rule. And step 3, automate savings. Let's break down exactly how each of these works.
Section 1. The app subscription track.
Think about this for a second. It is genuinely absurd that we actively pay for services we've completely forgotten we even have. The data shows that the average person wastes over $200 a year on apps they don't even use. $200. So why does this happen? Well, the source material dives into the psychology of the subscription economy. Companies rely heavily on our natural human inertia and what they call dark patterns in app design. They make it incredibly frictionless to sign up, right? Just double-click the side button of your phone or use Face ID, and you're in. But man, they make it an absolute labyrinth to cancel. There's this fascinating anecdote in the research about a user who realized they had been paying $7 a month for a premium document scanner app for 3 entire years. They downloaded it for a 1-week free trial just to scan a single lease agreement, forgot to uncheck one tiny little box, and ended up spending over $250 on an app they deleted from their home screen literally years ago. That is exactly how easily this $200 average slips away from us. Just think about what else you could do with that cash. That's a nice dinner out, a few tanks of gas, or a solid contribution to your emergency fund, all just vanishing into the digital abyss because of a forgotten checkmark. Taking 15 minutes today to go into your phone settings and audit your active subscriptions is absolutely the easiest money you're going to make all month.
Moving on to Section 2, the 24-hour rule.
If the first step was about cleaning up the past, well, this step is all about protecting your present. The source material outlines a remarkably simple psychological buffer designed to stop invisible money leaks dead in their tracks, before the transaction even goes through. And the absolutely crucial point here is this trigger number, $50. The new habit you really need to build is checking yourself before any purchase over $50. Why 50? According to behavioral economists cited in the text, $50 is generally the threshold where casual, invisible spending crosses over into impactful spending. You know, buying a coffee or a quick sandwich doesn't usually trigger major financial anxiety, but $50? That's a mental tripwire. It's enough money that if you spend it impulsively a few times a week, it completely derails a budget. The exact moment a digital shopping cart totals $50 or more, your alarm bells should instantly start ringing.
And what do you do when you hit that $50 tripwire? You wait 1 full day, 24 hours. Just step away from the checkout screen. The source points out a really fascinating human truth regarding how our brains handle online shopping. When we browse and add things to a digital cart, we get this massive hit of dopamine. The emotional, impulsive part of our brain just completely takes over, convincing us that buying this one item will solve a problem or make us significantly happier. But our logical brain? It's way slower. By forcing a 24-hour waiting period, you're simply giving your logical brain the necessary time to catch up with your emotional brain. A super practical tip suggested by the source is to leave the items right there in the digital cart. Completely close the browser tab and just go to sleep. See if you even remember those items the next morning. Most of the time, when you give yourself that one single day of breathing room, you'll realize you didn't even want the item to begin with. The impulse completely fades away like a fog lifting, and your hard-earned money stays exactly where it belongs.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is Section 3, Automate Your Wealth. This is where the strategy shifts entirely from playing defense to playing offense. The third habit is all about paying yourself first. You need to set up a transfer to your savings account on the exact same day you get paid. Seriously, don't wait until the end of the month to see what's left over, because human nature dictates that usually there is absolutely nothing left over. Do it immediately. And please don't think you need to be moving massive sums of money to make this work. This financial automation is incredibly effective, even if the transfer is just a tiny amount, like $20. The power here isn't necessarily in the initial dollar amount, it's in the concept of frictionless saving. Moving just $20 automatically out of your checking account every payday starts to build incredible momentum. It creates a compound effect, not just mathematically, but psychologically. It proves to you that you are entirely capable of saving, which radically shifts your financial identity from someone who just spends to someone who actively builds wealth. Because here is the profound truth behind this method. You won't miss what you never see. That powerful quote from our source text is the philosophical core of this entire automation strategy. This actually dives deep into a concept in behavioral economics known as Parkinson's law, which essentially states that expenses will always rise to perfectly meet income. If the money is sitting right there in your primary checking account, your brain will inevitably find a creative way to spend it. You'll justify an extra takeout meal, a nicer pair of shoes, or an upgrade you really don't need. But by moving the money out of your checking account the very second your paycheck clears, your brain instantly adapts your spending habits to whatever's left over. You force artificial scarcity. If the money is gone before you even log in to check your balance on payday, you miraculously figure out how to budget your week without it. It's completely out of sight, out of mind, safely building your wealth in the background while you just go about living your life. You're basically hacking your own psychology to make saving the default option.
And that brings us to Section 4, the $2,000 payoff. When you combine these three steps, canceling the unused app subscriptions that have been quietly draining you, enforcing that 24-hour psychological buffer for all impulse purchases over $50, and automating small immediate savings transfers on payday, the source data reveals something absolutely incredible. The mathematical payoff over the course of a single year is staggering. You can actually recover over $2,000 a year. And the best part, the true magic of this framework is the contrast in the results. You achieve this $2,000 in savings with absolutely zero lifestyle changes. You aren't sacrificing your daily joy, you're not canceling your weekend plans with friends, you're not skipping your favorite morning coffee, and you're definitely not changing how you live your day-to-day life at all. You are simply eliminating the invisible waste and friction that the modern economy tries to force upon you. This incredible, straightforward framework comes directly from Money Minute, so be sure to follow Money Minute for more simple money tips that actually work. But hey, before we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought. Now that you possess the exact tools to stop these invisible leaks and completely recontrol over your digital spending, what are you going to do with your newly recovered money? Will it fund that dream vacation you keep putting off, or will it finally give you total financial peace of mind? Think about it. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next explainer.